what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Sam. Today we're going to be talking about dialing in a Fender Blues Junior amplifier. If you've been watching the channel for any length of time, you'll know that one of my go-to amps, of course, is the Fender Blues Junior. And you know, I've played a lot of different amps over the years. I've played a Fender Blues Deluxe. I've played the Hot Rod Deluxe by Fender. Played Vox AC15 and Vox AC30. An Orange Tiny Terror, all kinds of different amplifiers I've played. I haven't always owned them, but I've played them over the years. But my go-to amplifiers nowadays are the Fender Blues Junior and the Vox AC15. And so I want to talk about how do you get great tone from a little tiny 15-watt Fender amplifier. Especially one that's not quite like the other Fender amplifiers. The other Fender amplifiers have the power sections that are powered by 6L6 tubes and 6V6 tubes. And this one's powered by EL84s, which is very different. And then the Vox AC15 and the Fender Blues Junior are almost more identical than the Blues Junior is with other Fender amps. So I want to take this amp though, because it's one that's very popular and one that I think a lot of people have because it's a good bedroom amp, because you can keep it lower volume and it's not going to wake up the neighbors or get everybody mad at you for playing it on 2 or 3. But I want to take that. I want to show you how you can get some really good clean tone from it and some really good overdriven tones and some really good dirty tones from it. I'm going to use this Strat that I've got that I've kind of put together over the years. This is my very first Strat. There's a video. I'll put it in the cards right there. There's a video that I already did on this and what it is and why I love it so much. One of the things that I really love about this guitar is it is just darker toned than my Strats with maple necks. It's a combination of I think the pickups, the wood it's made out of, the neck, all that kind of stuff. It's a super dense, heavy kind of guitar, and so it's got a little bit of that darker tone and darker feel to it. And so it actually sounds amazing with the Blues Junior together. So I want to take this guitar and I'll show you how to dial some of those awesome tones in. All right, here we go. All right, before we get too far into this, let's talk about some of the pros and some of the cons from the Blues Junior. So quickly, some of the pros. It's small, it's lightweight, it's not too loud. Those are some of the major pros about it. I can play it in this room, which is not a huge room, at probably master volume on 3 or 4, and the preamp volume all the way up to 5 or 6. And it's still not going to annoy the rest of the people in the house. So that's one of the main pros for this amp. The other pro for this amp is that it's cost effective. I bought this one new, $600 I think. And so it's not going to break the bank buying a good tube amplifier. So those are some of the pros. Some of the other pros are that it does have that Fender tone to it. It cleans up real nice and it dirties up pretty quick. All depending on what kind of tubes you have in it. So I just did a video, and I'll put it in the cards right here, about how you can swap out your tubes and get different kinds of tone and different kinds of headroom. So the tubes that come with it stock, the clean headroom is not, there's not a lot there. Like once you get the preamp volume up around 5-ish, no matter where you put your master volume, you're gonna get some distortion, you're going to get some overdrive to it. The tubes I just put in, which are the Tube Amp Doctor tubes, those increase the clean headroom by a ton. I mean, I was playing my Les Paul through it and I couldn't really break it up until I hit about 7 or 8. So I'll show you the difference on this, because these are loud pickups and it drives it pretty good normally, and I had tons of clean headroom, which is great. So that's some of the pros, is it cleans up pretty nice and it dirties up pretty nice, depending even on how much, what tubes you have in it. Let's talk about some of the cons. Some of the cons. Con number one is the bottom end on this amp is just flubby sounding. Even compared to my AC15, which notoriously has bottom end problems, this one is worse even. And it just sounds kind of, if I can use this word, farty. It's like when you hit it too hard with bottom end, you use any kind of boost that has like some lower end to it, and it just kind of farts out at the bottom. So that's one of the big issues with this amp. So if you're looking for an amp that chugs, you're looking for an amp that really gives you a lot of that bass to it, this is not going to be that amp. So that's a con for it. Another con to this amp, which I don't get from my AC15, is that no matter what I try to do with it, it sounds a little boxy. It has like this mid-rangey, boxy kind of sound to it. I can try to get rid of it with some EQ stuff, but to be honest, I think it's the combination of the speaker, how small the cabinet is that it sits in, and just something about the mid-range to the mix of the amplifier and the tubes and all that kind of stuff that just makes it sound boxy. I think those are it for the cons. Like, the rest of it is just, the Blues Junior is one of the best bang for the buck amplifiers that you can get. It sounds amazing. It's great for pedals. So I want to show you how to take your Blues Junior and how to dial it in to get the sounds and the tone that you want. We're going to use all kinds of different settings. We're going to do super, super clean. We're going to do super, super dirty. We're going to do reverb up, reverb down, all kinds of stuff. So if you have a Blues Junior, this might be the video for you to help you get the tone you're looking for. All right, let's go to the Blues Junior and then let's look at how to get some of these tones. All right, first things first, I'm sitting right here in front of the Blues Junior, and I want to get a really good clean tone with the neck pickup on my Strat, okay? So what I do, and I'll show you the controls down here. What I try to do is I try to take everything back to 0, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do that right now. And all my EQ settings for the bass, the treble, and the middle, they're all right at 6, okay, about halfway. So what I want to do is I want to take the master volume and I want to turn it all the way up. So now what you're doing is you're getting all of the amp's ability to drive a clean sound without breaking up through the speaker. So it's wide open. The whole volume is wide open. Then I'm going to take my preamp volume and I'm just going to turn it up until I get to the level that I want. That's the way you can get the cleanest amount of signal through your amp. So here we go. I'm just going to turn it up to 2, okay? So it's on the neck pickup, just turned up to 2. And here's the sound you get. Super clean. I'm going to take the reverb and I'm going to put up to 3. So now you've got a little bit of reverb. I'm going to put it in position 4. Now you can hear a little bit of some clean signal going through with some reverb on a really tasty tone of your guitar. Love that. So next thing I want to do is I want to see if I can adjust some of the EQ to bring out some highs and a little bit of mids and reduce some of the lows, because the more I get with the lows, let me show you what it does with the lows, okay? So I'm going to take the bass up to about 9. And I put the reverb up to 4. Listen to what happens to the bass when you get the bass up there. All right, now I'm gonna put the fat switch on so you can see what I mean by the bass. Just kind of, the bass is all the way up. So put the fat switch on, watch what happens. Just gonna play just a little. So just gets kind of flubby in the bass. So that's how to get a really good clean tone. Now, how do you get a good like mid-range breakup volume? Let's talk about that. Well, what I like to do is I like to take my preamp volume and I like to go about 3 or 4, and then I'll use my master volume to actually do the overall volume. So I'm kind of getting an okay sound coming from the preamps, but then I'm pushing it with the master volume. So here's what that sounds like. The master volume about 3, and the preamp volume about 3. And this is on position 4. All right, so now if I take it and I put the preamp volume up to about 5 or 6 and leave the master volume where it's at, what you're going to see is that your drive is going to start increasing a little bit. And it'll still be clean, but you get the more aggressive you pick and the harder you go at it, the more you're going to feel kind of the guitar just take over. Watch. So the master volume's at 3 and the preamp volume is at 6. So still clean, but then it's got a little bit of that edge and that bite. And that's really where I kind of enjoy playing a Strat, because you can get, let's say you do position 2, you can get all kinds of great sounds out of that, like this. All right, let's drive it a little more. You do that nice sweet spot where you're just kind of ringing it out. We'll go to the neck pickup to do that. Well, if you're trying to figure out how to dial in your Blues Junior to get the tones you want, here's my quick tips. If you want a really, really clean tone, master volume has to go up all the way, and then your preamp preamp volume. Just kind of adjust for your tone and your loudness. That will clean up your guitar like crazy, and it's really a great tone for the Blues Junior. If you like a little more grit to it or a little more string dynamics and that kind of stuff, try to balance it out and make them even. If you want a lot more distorted kind of tones, a little more lead, a little more sustain, more preamp volume, less master volume. That'll do it. Do the trick for you. But it's all about what you like, really. So the way that I learned how to do this was not by watching videos like this. Even though I'm making the video, it wasn't by watching a video like this. It was literally by sitting in front of my amp and playing with all the knobs and kind of playing my guitar and figuring out what I like. So hopefully this has inspired you to go, hey, I want to figure out how to do this on my amp, and then you just go to town working on your own tone for your own amp. All right, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, comment, all those things. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today.